So let's talk about selling a high-end home. What's the first thing that pops into your head? Probably price, right? Or square footage, maybe the latest market trends. And yeah, of course, those things matter. But what if the most valuable asset of a home isn't on any spec sheet at all? What if it's the story?
And this quote, it just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? For so many homeowners, these aren't just buildings. They are, and I love this phrase, vessels of identity, memory, and meaning. They hold all the echoes of laughter, the big life decisions, and those quiet little moments that really make up a life. Exactly. If all of that emotional weight is so incredibly important to the person selling the home, why is it almost completely missing when it's time to find a buyer? That is the big question we're going to unpack right now.
And you know, that disconnect, it creates a huge problem. We see these absolutely incredible, one-of-a-kind homes just sitting on the market for way, way too long. And it's usually because they're being sold with these generic, cookie-cutter strategies that totally fail to capture their soul.
I mean, just think about your own phone habits. We're all just scrolling, right? An endless feed of images. A nice professional photo might catch your eye for a split second. But what actually makes you stop the scroll? It's that emotional connection. It's the feeling behind the photo that makes someone pause and actually start to imagine a life there.
Let's really break down the two different approaches here. The old way? Well, it's just a cold checklist, isn't it? 4 beds, 3 baths, granite countertops. Yawn. It's all about the price per square foot. But the story first way, that's totally different. It's about building a narrative, a lifestyle. It's not focused on price, it's focused on perceived value. One is completely forgettable, the other one creates a real, lasting connection. And the consequence of sticking to that old approach? Well, it's pretty clear. A home that's marketed without its story, it just becomes invisible. It gets completely lost in the sea of other listings because there's nothing for the right person to grab onto, nothing that says, hey, this is it. This is the one you've been looking for. You know, when a luxury home isn't selling, it is so easy to blame the price tag. But so often, the real issue isn't that it's overpriced, it's that it's underpresented. The marketing has just completely failed to communicate its true, intangible value. So how do we fix this? How do we get it right? Well, it all starts with a brand new way of thinking about value, one that goes way, way beyond simple measurements. And that brings us to this key concept, emotional currency. Think of it as the intangible value that comes from a home's history, its unique feeling, its story. This is the currency that actually inspires a buyer to feel that deep, gut-level connection, that this is it moment. I absolutely love this phrase. It just captures the idea so perfectly. We're not just selling space, we're trying to convey the essence of a place. We are marketing its soul footage. And look, this isn't some abstract, fluffy idea. We're talking about real, tangible things. It's the memory of grandkids ripping open presents on the porch. It's that specific oak tree that was planted as a milestone. It's the sensory details, that smell of rosemary and salt air in the kitchen, or the way the morning light just dances across the floor. A buyer might not know your exact stories, but trust me, they can feel when a home is full of them. Okay, so this all sounds great in theory, right? But does it actually work in the real world? Well, let's dive into a case study that puts this whole concept into practice. All right, so picture this, a beautiful luxury home in Fairhope, Alabama. Should be a pretty easy sell, you'd think, but nope. It had been sitting on the market for 6 long months. The marketing was technically fine, crisp photos, all the details were there, but it was just completely lifeless. And the result? Not a single serious offer. And then everything changed. During a visit, the agent noticed a grand piano tucked away in a room. When they asked about it, the seller shared this simple little memory about her mother. This one sentence, it wasn't about a feature, it was about a feeling. It was the soul of the home, hiding in plain sight. So they took that one little story and built a whole new marketing strategy around it. It was actually a really simple 3-step pivot. First, they uncovered that story of the piano. Second, they adjusted the visuals. They staged the piano with soft candlelight to create a mood. And third, they completely rewrote the property description to evoke that feeling of a home filled with music. And the results? I mean, they speak for themselves. After 6 months of absolutely nothing, this new story-driven approach brought in 2 strong offers within just 2 weeks. The buyers even said they felt something they couldn't quite explain. That is the power of soul footage.
Now, you might be thinking, okay, that's a great story, but was it just a fluke? Not at all. There's actually some real science behind why this works so well. It's all about the psychology of what's really going on in a buyer's mind. Here is the fundamental principle, and it's something we all do. We like to think of ourselves as these super logical, rational beings. But the truth is, major decisions, especially big luxury purchases, are driven by emotion. We fall in love with something first, and then our brain gets to work finding all the logical reasons to justify the decision our heart already made. You can see it right here. That gut feeling, that sense of this just feels right, that's the lion's share of the decision. The features, the logic, that's the smaller piece of the pie. If you don't win their heart first, all the logical reasons in the world don't matter. So at the end of the day, buyers are trying to see their own life in the home. They're searching for a place that really aligns with who they are and maybe even who they aspire to be. A successful sale happens when a buyer looks at a property and sees a reflection of their own story looking back at them. And this brings us to the final and maybe the most important piece of the whole puzzle. It's about shifting your mindset. Stop thinking only about what you need to fix or change and start listening to what your home is already trying to tell you. Every single home has a voice, a natural feeling it gives off. Some homes just feel like a sanctuary. They whisper, "Come in and rest." Others are practically built for entertaining. They shout, "Celebrate here." And some offer this incredible sense of quiet and solitude. So, what's the core message of your space? And here is that big mental shift. Your role as a seller isn't to try and make your home into something it's not. It's not to mute its unique personality to try and appeal to everybody. Your real job is to listen to that voice and then clarify it, amplify it, and translate it for the right buyers. So think about it. Your home has a story, a feeling, a unique voice just waiting to be translated. The only question left is, in a market that is so full of noise, are you doing everything you can to make sure its true voice is finally being heard?